Days after her husband was arrested for child molestation, a woman is now charged with the same crime. It's connected to the horrific allegations against a former Vancouver, Washington pediatrician. Vancouver police shared this picture on social media. It shows officers taking Anna Mae Hartley into custody on Monday. Police say detectives booked her into Clark County Jail for child molestation and trafficking. Her husband, Chad Hartley, was arrested 2 weeks ago for the same crimes. According to court documents, Chad Hartley brought a child to Dr. Michael Wilmington's home for weekly nude sleepovers. Wilmington was accused of child molestation and called an extreme threat to children in the community. Wilmington died by suicide on May 2nd after a warrant was put out for his arrest. A 61-year-old man has also been arrested in connection with this case. Wilmington was fired by Kaiser Permanente on April 30th. In a lawsuit filed this week, attorneys for a former patient and survivor of the doctor alleged abuse sued the health system. The suit makes several accusations, including that Kaiser Permanente knew about the danger Wilmington presented to patients and failed to protect children. We reached out to Kaiser for their response to the lawsuit. In a statement, they tell us they are cooperating with law enforcement and add, quote, "Our primary concern continues to be for anyone who has been affected by Dr. Wilmington's actions. We have attempted to notify every patient that Dr. Wilmington has seen and have encouraged any patient, parent, or guardian who has questions or concerns or needs health support to call us." Quote, "We have set up a dedicated line at 877-226-1264. We continue to urge anyone with information relevant to the investigation to contact local law enforcement." To dive more into this lawsuit, we're joined by Jason Amala, one of the attorneys representing Jane Doe. Thank you for being here, Jason.
Thank you for having me.
And to start, can you tell us when Jane Doe says the abuse started?
In approximately 2000 until about 2006, when she was just 6 to 12 years old.
And your lawsuit claims Kaiser knew about the danger this doctor posed and did nothing. Can you expand more on that?
Sure. In the about 10 days since this kind of it broke about the criminal charges and the warrant that was out for him, we've been contacted by close to 100 different people, either parents or patients, about Dr. Wilmington with information about their own experiences. Some of those phone calls, people shared, a mom shared that she went 20 years ago, took her kids to see Dr. Wilmington. There were 3 kids, 2 brothers and a sister. During that visit, one of the kids had nosebleeds, and during the visit, he asked to do wellness checks of the boys, even though it wasn't that time of year, and fondled the boys in front of her during the exams, and then turned to the daughter and wanted to do an exam of the daughter and asked to do it in private. And when the mom said no, he got enraged and got mad at her and said some unkind things to the mom. So she turned around and complained to Kaiser. That's just one example, more than 20 years ago, of pretty serious misconduct by Dr. Wilmington in front of a mom, and nothing was done.
Can you estimate how many survivors do you think might be out there?
Dr. Wilmington was a patient for about 30 years, and we've had dozens of people contact us and share stories where, like a lot of bad doctors, and our firm's represented a number of victims and survivors of different bad doctors around the country, he would use his position as a pediatrician to the auspices of medical care to sexually abuse them. So I don't know how many patients he had during that time period, but there could be literally thousands of victims out there, because he would use his position to do stuff to the kids that wasn't medically appropriate. And we're hearing that over and over and over again. He's fondling kids' genitals and breasts without a reason to do it. And then obviously there's a spectrum of what he did to kids. That's, I'll say, on one end of the spectrum, and then obviously there's a lot more horrific conduct, but I don't know talk about.
And from your research and from your knowledge, do you believe that this could be part of some larger predator network right now?
It sure looks that way. Just in the last week, the arrests that are happening, the sharing of the child pornography, I don't know how extensive it is. It's starting to sound like he may have taken photos of some of his patients. But another red flag we're hearing he would routinely talk to the kids in front of their parents about nudity, about it's okay to be naked. He would invite kids over to his own home. It sounds like he used his own kids as kind of bait to try to get kids to come over to his home. Sleepovers, get-togethers. So it's really terrifying, especially for someone in that position that a lot of parents would trust, right? Your kid's a pediatrician. So yeah, maybe part of a broader network. We just don't know, but it's really extensive what we've heard.
Well, thank you for your answer. How is the survivor you represent doing now?
Jane Doe's she's processing, right? It's hard for anyone who comes forward. When people are abused as kids, it impacts people in different ways. It doesn't affect everyone the same way. I think for her and a lot of folks in these types of cases, to know that you're not alone, to kind of suddenly have that paradigm shift, to suddenly feel like, gosh, that seemed off at the time, and then to hear from other people who are like, yeah, that was off. That's really hard. The breach of trust, right? Your pediatrician, family doctor, is really hard. Kind of processing that. For her coming forward and speaking out, I think it's the choice she made. It's been very healthy for her. And we're hearing from a lot of other people who are processing in different ways.
Oh, and finally, you are unfortunately, you're familiar with a lot of child sex abuse cases. Are there any particular warning signs parents should be looking out for to help prevent abuse?
Yeah, I'd start by just saying, talking to your kids, right, at appropriate ages about there are people out there that are not good people, and just because someone's a doctor or in a position of trust, to speak up, and it's always okay to share. They're never going to get in trouble if they share. For warning signs, some things would be kids who are maybe a little, sexualized. Kids can be kids. But there's a point where you might see some warning signs, and just talking to your kids and asking what's going on. And again, just making sure that they know they're never going to be in trouble if they share with you, right? No matter who they're talking about, a family member, a doctor, a trusted person, it kind of starts there where your kids always feel comfortable talking with you and sharing and knowing you're not going to get in trouble for sharing.
Attorney Jason Amala, thank you for your time.
Thank you.